Hello and welcome back to the channel Stories of the Strange. Before we move into today's story, please verify the like button and subscribe to the channel above. In today's story, we are going to talk about John Davis. John Davis was a Californian-based man that grew up in a normal family of working-class parents. John Davis went to elementary school, primary, secondary, and finally college. In college, he chose psychology, studied, and was able to get his diploma. John Davis was actually a normal guy, and 3 years after this diploma, he met a woman and got married to her. They had three beautiful kids, two sons and one daughter. Everything went on well for the little Californian family until 3 years after the marriage, where he integrated this particular church. In the beginning, everything was fine. He went to church, he had his pastor, he had his fellowship, and nothing seemed strange. But as time went on, it looked like John had some specific new devotions and a particular doctrine that did not really fit the way he was before entering the church. Now, his wife was concerned and tried to tell him about it, but he did not listen. On the contrary, he got more and more extreme. What he ate, how he slept, the things he did, the way he dressed completely changed. The dynamic of his couple actually suffered a lot from these particular changes. But then again, everyone spoke to him and he did not listen. The wife had to go towards his mom, talk to his mom about what is happening for her to actually intervene, and still she spoke to her son and nothing changed. John continued being less and less humane and started acting really strange, claiming it is spiritual. So, 5 years after this marriage, this couple started having a lot of crises and things went to a divorce phase. This woman actually dropped down a divorce and asked the divorce and the keeping of the children. So John got in a mad rage and decided that okay, his children are not going to go anywhere. They fought and he finally killed his wife. He killed his wife, he killed his three kids, and he equally killed his mother. That is not the scariest part. The scariest part about this story is how good this man was able to cut into pieces all of these people and bury them in his own garden. This man finished burying them, told his pastor why he did it, and went ahead with his life. 18 years later, John Davis got married to another woman and lived happily. Here he did not have any kids and no other pastor and no other church. Now, nobody knows up to today how much and why did he actually kill those people. It has never been found and it has never been known the reasons behind possible. She had neighbors, she had friends, she has employees, she has colleagues. The parents explained to them that Rose died 10 years ago before even getting to college. So who was he living with? He showed the pictures and they actually coincided with the Rose they knew. So how could this be? This man was flabbergasted because he had no reasons to believe. He now recalled that every time he asked her about her family, she would lie and tell him about how they were so distant, how they died, how her parents got divorced, how she had no relatives, no extended relatives. Finally, they had to get married without him knowing anybody of his family. Now he could understand better. So now the question is, who called Rose that day? What was this mysterious call? Where did she go to? Why did she disappear all of a sudden? Why now? Nobody really had answers to that. The husband went deeper into investigations and discovered that this woman had effectively died 10 years ago. Her grave was shown. Could she have a twin sister? This was not possible because even the ages actually coincided. The date of birth was the same as he gave her. Where was she? He had to go back to their house and check. All her items were still there, her clothes and everything were still there. So where could she have gone to? The police carried out investigation and a lot of things, the cops were also exonerated and a lot of things were done. But up till now, nothing has been found. Nobody knows her whereabouts. How can somebody just disappear from thin air? Very strange but true. Finally, a few years into his new marriage, the ancient pastor actually felt guilty about the situation and went to the police reporting John Davis. Investigations were made, More testimonies were gotten from neighbors and other people, and finally it brought them back to the previous house where they had stayed. In that house, there was some investigation. They sealed around the place and they unburied things. They finally found the four corpses: mother, daughters, and the wife. The corpse of one particular person was missing, that was one of his sons. So they continued investigation and found the son buried in the main park. Why did John Davis do this? Nobody had answers to this. Well, he was actually arrested, interrogated, and incarcerated. Up to today, he has not given specific reasons of why he did what he did, and nobody still knows what happened to him. The pastor on his own side said he could not really reveal what he revealed to him 20 years ago. Well, till today, John Davis has been incarcerated, and still nobody knows the exact reasons that may have drawn someone to change so drastically from being a nice person, a very welcoming person, to actually turn out to be that particular monster and kill all his loved ones. His new wife was taken aback and she actually finally found and filed for a divorce. On the second story of today, we are going to talk about the little girl that actually survived the air crash. This little girl actually boarded on the air crash. Let's get into story 2, the story of the little Rose. Rose was actually born in America of normal parents. Her parents were of working class and she went to school normally. She had her college degree in biology, got married to this nice man, and they had 2 kids. They lived not far away from her initial hometown and she found a job in a laboratory not far from home. Rose went to work normally every evening and had a normal shift. One day, she had this strange call on the phone in the laboratory and then she disappeared. Her colleagues, her employees had no idea where she had gone and they finally had to inquire back to her husband. On going to her husband, they realized that the husband has no clue either. The kids have no clue either. They went around, investigated, have the neighbors investigate, asked about her everywhere, and nothing was there to be shown. A lot of things were asked, newspapers were drawn, and she was actually considered missing. Few days later, investigations continued and there was still no trace of this woman. How could this be? This man now had to go back to the wife's family and ask about her whereabouts. On going there, he was shocked. He asked about her from her parents, and what they could say was, Rose died 10 years ago. How could this be possible? I've been married to her. How could this be possible? She was working in this laboratory. How could this be possible? She had neighbors, she had friends, she has employees, she has colleagues. The parents explained to them that Rose died 10 years ago before even getting to college. So who was he living with? He showed the pictures and accept that he may have been married to a ghost till now. The children were real though. He was real. The marriage certificate was real. Her death certificate too was real. That is the paradox. This man had to finally accept his fate, get married to another woman, and move on. But what happened next is very surprising. A few years after getting married to this new wife, strange things started happening to his house. He started listening to strange voices, started having strange dreams, and actually had to report these dreams. He was directed to a psychiatric ward where he was followed up. After the following up, it was discovered and considered that he had mental issues. This man claimed not to have mental issues. He claimed not to be hallucinating. He claimed that everything that he had been thinking about was real, but he had no proofs. He kept on having these voices about her, seeing her in his dreams, and having very strange visions, but nobody could believe him. Finally, he was inserted into the psychiatric ward and followed up for a few years. The more he was actually not believed, the more he seemed to be hallucinating, the more he had these violent dreams, and the more he became very violent and agitated. He was actually classified as a mentally ill person finally, and he finally ended up his life in this psychiatric ward. Nobody up to today can determine what really happened to this man. Nobody can say, was he hallucinating? Was he serious? Nobody will ever know. How come could he have these dreams, very specific dreams about her? How come did he claim for more than 20 years to have these visions? How come did this man's life just basculated like that? Where are his kids today? Nobody could answer that. The strangest part is who called Rose that day? Why that particular call? And what could that person possibly say to a ghost for her to actually decide to disappear at that point in time? Nobody has answers to those questions. Well, I guess we will never know too. Thank you for following up. See you for next stories on Stories of the Strange. Please tag the like button